Well, which started out as a very, very cold day, but not too terrible. And then things got worse. Yeah, coolant leaks, giving back loads, ridiculous stuff. Rusty is beyond belief on this episode of
the Clutch Trucker Channel.
Clutch Trucker, filmed before a live and fuzzy studio audience. Yep, you know him, you love him. Joe can't live without him. It's Rusty, the world-famous meatball dog. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker Channel. Yeah, in the middle of that super cold stuff, I'm sitting here right now at a beverage distributor in Gillette, Wyoming. Remember in the last video I had said that I had gone to New Brownfills and I was on my way to pick up the lignite again for a Wednesday pickup. The sun is just kind of coming in at a funny angle. So I picked up last Wednesday, the 15th, and then delivered in Wisconsin on Friday, and then picked up actually I delivered Saturday, but had some issues with my health card. We'll talk about that coming up. Yeah, then I had already told you I booked the load of beer going back from City Brewery in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and going to Gillette for Monday morning delivery today. So we picked that up on Saturday and came across with all that super cold stuff. And this morning, here, look, you can see driving into Gillette, it looks like kind of a nice day. The sky is blue, you know, it doesn't look all that bad, but look at this. Yeah, here's the temperature this morning. It was, when I got up, took Rusty out, what was it? It's 17 below zero, felt like 38 below zero. Hello! Yeah, I parked in Moorcroft, Wyoming at the Coffee Cup fuel stop last night, and needless to say, yeah, I did not shut the truck off. Remember a couple videos ago I got that coolant leak fixed? Well, it was leaking on me yesterday morning, the day before that. I had to add more coolant. I think it's just been a cold leak. I was going to try to get there today, under there, and see if I can tighten up those clamps a little bit. I'm going to stop and fuel just as I'm on my way out of town from Gillette here this morning. So hopefully that'll take care of that. If not, I'm going back to Wisconsin. I'll just kind of keep watching the coolant, topping it off if I have to, and go back to North American Trailer after I deliver on Wednesday, or yeah, that would be Wednesday, and say, hey, you need to double check this. I think there still might be an issue. Yeah, so here it is, Monday morning, the 20th, and like I say, last I checked, it just feels like 37 degrees below zero. It's just ridiculous. I know down south, like through Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and all that, they're bracing for snow and ice, and actually, I'll take this over that, and there's a couple of reasons. Because when it's this cold, and the roads are already dry, essentially, then you can get traction. When it's right around the freezing temperature, you know, 25 to 35 degrees, that's when you get all the slippery stuff, and the slippery and snot, and you're sliding all over. So, as long as you can keep your truck from breaking down, and keep yourself warm, and your dog warm, and all that, in some ways, this is better, believe it or not. So we're getting unloaded now. They're unloading the Mike's Hard Lemonade and all that I picked up at City Brewery in Wisconsin, and we're gonna head on down. Then we're gonna head straight south out of Gillette. I'm sorry, toward Glenrock on Highway 59, and then we're gonna pick up the lignite again this afternoon for a Wednesday delivery. So health card thing, yeah. Actually, I stayed in Wyoming and. So I could get that done on Thursday morning, and we did do that, and that's why I ended up delivering on Saturday instead. But yeah, I got some health issues. My blood pressure is way up. I haven't had really ever blood pressure issues in my life before, and so it was way up. So I didn't get the full, 1 or 2 year medical card for the DOT. So they only gave me 3 months. So I need to get back into a doctor and get this figured out, and since I'm going to Glenrock to pick up again today, I just called him this morning and said, hey, can I happen to get in to see the same guy who did the DOT, since he already saw me, and maybe we can get this figured out and see if they need to get me on something. So after I get picked up this afternoon, that's what we're going to do. So hopefully we can get that straightened out, and maybe I can start feeling a little better. But at least I was able to at least get the 3-month card and all that, so I can keep working. And like I say, hopefully we'll get this all straightened out. I'm sure people would say, well, why don't you go to a doctor in Cheyenne? Because I don't have a primary doctor in Cheyenne. I just saw this guy last Thursday, And it's probably going to be a lot easier to get in to the doctor there, as I found out this morning, in a town of only like 1,000 people, than a town of 50,000 people. What do you think? Well, then everything just went downhill from there, and tried to fill up after that delivery in Gillette at the Maverick, and their satellite pump wouldn't work, so I had to turn around so I could fill up the other tank, turn back around to try to get DEF, but no, DEF's frozen, so I couldn't get that. And yeah, tried crawling underneath the truck and looking, and yeah, it's a worse coolant. Like, sorry for my hair. I've been putting this winter hat on and off all day to try to stay a little bit warm, so the hair's a mess. Yeah, so it was leaking worse. I had some other coolant with me, topped that off, and thought, okay, try to make it down towards Douglas. And right as I'm coming into Douglas, coolant alarm goes off, low coolant alarm. And I'm like, okay, this is bad. Pulled off, found a gas station. They didn't have any coolant. There was a Dollar General across the road. Went in and bought what they had, put that in. I had been to Bud's Field Service before in Douglas. They did my belt, and as the guy called it, a roller skate. It's the tensioner thing, and that's been fine ever since. So I went over there, and there was nobody there. I had it called on my way down from Gillette to the Freightliner in Rapid City, saying, hey, I should be coming through there after I get loaded. I could probably be there tomorrow morning. Do you have the radiator in case that's what it is? Yes, we do. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'll be there at 8 o'clock. Well, then, when it had just been a slow leak so far, and it started getting much worse. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to make Rapid City. I'll be lucky if I can even pick up my load today, which I was not able to do. So one thing after another just kept snowballing. Fits for the weather. So needless to say, I had to give back my next load that was picking up today. I am now sitting here in Evansville, Wyoming, at the Hat 6 Travel Plaza. There is a TA service center here. It's not a TA truck stop, but they do have a TA service center. And I thought, all right, so I dropped my trailer at what's now called a stinker station there in Douglas. Went in and filled out some information so they wouldn't tow it away. Got over here, stopped and did go see the doctor. I had that doctor's visit planned. Did that, and made it over here to the TA. Told them I want to do a pressure test so I can figure out where the leak's coming from. They didn't do that. They just crawled underneath and they found out, yeah, it is the radiator. The radiator's ruptured. So now I got to get that done. Yeah, and of course, the Freightliner here in town, I had called them earlier. They also had the radiator, but they closed at 5 p.m. So by the time I got done with the doctor's appointment, I got over here, it was past that. So I asked them how much they would charge to put the radiator in here at the TA service center. And they said like 500 and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I stopped listening at that point. Because when I talked to the Freightliner earlier today about at Rapid City, how much they charge for labor, it was like 8 hours at $200 an hour, $1,600. So let's see, $1,600 or like 500 and something. Hello, I'm doing the 500 and something. What do you think? So in the morning, they're going to go, I'm going to call them again, tell them here's what we need to do. They're going to go get the radiator, and they're going to bring it back here, and I'm going to have TA do it, because they're going to charge almost $1,100 less to put it in. No brainer. So being newer to this truck, I had no idea how, if this radiator had ever been replaced before. Most likely not. But even so, this is the 5th truck I've owned. There's the 4th, 5th, I don't know. Radiators tend to only last, 200,000 to 300,000 miles anyway. So you're going to replace one if you own a truck. And they tend to always fail in the winter when it's the coldest and it's the most difficult to deal with. So at least if that's going to happen, well, let's save $1,100. So once they check that out, then I topped off the coolant again. I just parked just inside the Travel Plaza right next to the TA Service Center. So I'll call them in the morning and get in there. Hopefully, by topping off the coolant tonight, I can make it through the night, running the engine, and stay warm enough in here. I do have more coolant with me. Yep, got more of the red, the shell. I bought this at the stinker station in Douglas before I even tried to attempt to come up here to Evansville, just in case. So I've put in about 2/3 of this one, and I got 2 more gallons, just like it sitting down here, keeping them inside where it's warm. So if in the middle of the night I gotta get dressed and pop out there and pop some more coolant in so I can get the heat, well, that's what we gotta do. So this is a good example of when it sucks to be a truck driver. Yeah, breaking down in some of the coldest temperatures of the season. And of course, unlike a company driver, I'm an owner-operator. It's my responsibility. I got to find the solution. I got to pay the bills. I got to do all that. Can't just call the company and say, come save me. No, it's all on me. Radiators on these trucks are always going to blow in the hottest possible temperatures or the coldest possible temperatures. Never when it's nice, 65, whatever, No. You're either going to be freezing your butt off or you're going to be sweating bullets. So after all that, you can see Rusty right back there. See him back behind me? Yeah, see, there he is. He's just happily snoozing. He's happy. He got to go out again. He got his dinner. He's all happy. Okay, so the medical card thing. Yeah, so, I can only get 3 months. So I needed to go back to see the doctor, and so I did. My blood pressure was much lower today than it was on Thursday when I was all stressed out. And so that's a good thing, but now we've kind of got a plan in motion. Because he doesn't want to just throw medication at me in case I really don't need it. Could have just been a bad day, I mean, that happens sometimes. So we're going to monitor. I got a little blood pressure cuff thing right here that we're going to monitor with for a couple of weeks, and then I'll let him know the results, and then we'll decide if we need to be on any medication or not, and then we'll try to do the DOT physical again, so I can get at least the 1 year, if not the 2. I've always had the 2 year. So that's what we're aiming for. All right, so that's pretty much it. Day started, not too bad. Little inconveniences. I got to top off the coolant, and I got a slight leak. Maybe it's a little minor thing. Now, of course, it has to blow up into a big thing, and I have to give away my next load. And so here we are in some of the coldest temperatures. Like I said earlier, at least the roads are basically dry, and if there is any snow on them, well, it's so frickin' cold that you can get traction on it. It's not that big a deal. So I really do not envy the people who have to drive down through the south this week with all the snow and ice and slush coming through there, because for one, the people don't know how to drive on it. Two, those states aren't prepared for it. They don't know how to treat it. They don't know how to. They don't even have plows, for crying out loud. So that's going to be a mess. Well, thanks for tuning in for that one. With any hope, we can get this done tomorrow. And Lon at HBarN has been real good about dealing with me. I just hate to give a load back. But he couldn't find a truck to fill it, so we might still be able to just delay it a day or two and still run it. So we'll see on that. If not, there's always the kitty litter up in Colony, Wyoming I could probably go get, so we can get rolling again by the weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please like and comment. Get your comments as soon as I can. Sometimes takes a few days because I'm a working truck driver. I've actually been pretty good about it lately. Clutch Trucker on Instagram, Clutch Trucker on Twitter X, Clutch Trucker 5 on TikTok, maybe. And as always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch and a tired Rusty, out. So, you testified that you started cooking your grits, and then you looked out the window, you saw the boys run from the store, and you turned back and the grits were done. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so how long does it take to cook grits? 10 to 12 minutes. But that could have only been a couple minutes. So the grits cook faster on your stove than anywhere else in the known universe? All right, you ready? There's a bunch of bottles of coolant in your way. I'm sorry about that. And my blood pressure cuff there. You ready for your bacon strip? Rusty, you ready for it? Oh, there you go. You're too tired tonight. I know it's been a long day and it's been cold and stuff, but that's a bacon strip, for crying out loud. Normally you're all over that. Get him! Alright. Let's get that happy dog look. Rusty!